This is Keith McDaniel, and today is July the 23rd, 2026. And I'm in Oak Ridge, and today I'm talking to Tracy Boatner. Tracy, thank you for taking time to talk to me.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
First of all, tell me what your title is.
My title is President and CEO of the East Tennessee Economic Council, or ETEC.
Okay. And ETEC has quite the history. So before we get into your story, tell me a little bit about ETEC's history and what it does.
Yes. So ETEC is, I believe we are about 53 years old, maybe 54. And we were started, there were a group of citizens in Oak Ridge that were concerned about the potential missions of the Department of Energy. It wasn't called the Department of Energy then, but basically the Department of Energy's missions might be going away. And since Oak Ridge was basically started as a government town, and we were really dependent on federal investments in this town, they wanted to make sure that number one, they wanted to continue the federal investments if possible, but they also wanted to diversify the economy so that we could bring in more private companies to be part of the ecosystem. Sure. So there were 4 or 5 businessmen who really wanted to start ETEC at that time. It wasn't called ETEC then. The first name was the Roane Anderson Economic Council. Right. But they started going out to different states and trying to recruit private industry here. And they started also having regular meetings, just a handful of people, I believe, in the beginning, of people that were interested in doing the same things. So they involved the Department of Energy and contractors and just started these regular, let's meet together and talk about what's happening here, and try to create a city that is more economically diverse and while also leveraging our assets that we have here with the Department of Energy.
And that's been going on for over 50 years.
Over 50 years.
And they still have regular meetings every Friday morning.
Every Friday.
And I will tell you that I have been to a few of those meetings, and it is a literal who's who of people in this region as far as economic development and private and federal folks all together. Yes. And if you're into that, you don't miss Friday mornings at ETEC.
Well, thank you.
That's for sure.
We like to say we have representatives from government, industry, from utilities, academia, and all of the above. Local government. We even have state government folks. Lieutenant Governor is known to be here.
Oh, sure.
Regularly. I think he was here last week. We had Congressman Fleischman speak.
And then, a few weeks ago, you had Lamar Alexander, didn't you?
Yes, Senator Alexander came to speak about his book, and what a wonderful day that was. He's a tremendous person, and it was great to have him here. And then, like you said, private companies, a lot of the new nuclear companies are attending. The contractors at Y-12 and at Oak Ridge National Laboratory. And TVA is represented here often. But it's not just those folks. It's also, the CEO of Methodist Medical Center comes. He's on our board. And again, I mentioned, so the city manager comes, local elected officials like Wade Cresswell, Mayor Gooch, county commissioners, Anderson County commissioners and Roane County commissioners are coming. It's just...
It's the place, if you want to know what's going on, it's the place to be. I mean, that's where you learn what's really going on. So,
well, that's what we try to do, is to stay current and look at what's happening and try to bring in people to talk about it. So we can stay informed and educated, like you say, about what's happening in the region, and see if where our organizations can plug in.
Yeah. All right, so we'll get to E-TEC and your mission and some of the things that have happened because of E-TEC or E-TEC has helped make happen. But let's go back, and I want to learn a little bit more about you. You mentioned a while ago that you've not been here very long. So tell me where you were born and raised, something about growing up, your family.
Sure. So I was born and raised in Knoxville. Mm-hmm. I grew up in the Gibbs community. Mm-hmm. I went to Gibbs all the way through, from kindergarten all the way. I graduated from there. Mm-hmm. My claim to fame is I did not graduate with Kenny Chesney, but he was a year older than me.
Oh, okay.
And I sang in some of the choirs with him and the madrigal singers and all of that. So I wasn't in his band or anything, but I did know him and went to school with him. So born and raised in East Tennessee. My parents also, my mom grew up in sort of the Madisonville area, and my dad grew up in Claiborne County. So they both grew up on farms. And
what did they do for a living?
My mother was a bookkeeper, and she didn't go to college, but she had a great career as a bookkeeper. My father he didn't graduate from high school. Mm-hmm. He left town when he was 17 and joined the Army before he was really legally supposed to. Right. He did get his GED, while he was in the Army. And he started working for a trucking company. He was a truck driver, and eventually he was promoted up through the ranks where he was an executive level person at it was called Interstate Contract Carrier Corporation. Okay. And he did very well there, and after he left there, he ended up working for Peterbilt. Was the last job he had. He was in sales at Peterbilt. So he had a very successful career.
That's interesting. My father-in-law, he was a trucking industry professional his whole career.
Really?
Started at Ryder in Michigan and moved to Florida. And then he moved to Tennessee to take over. He was the Vice President of Administration for Skyline Trucking Company. Yeah. And so he did that his whole career.
Yeah. My dad left Interstate because they were wanting him to go to live permanently in Utah. Yeah. And he did that for a little while, and then he was like ready to come back. Yeah.
So were you an only child? Did you have siblings?
No, I have siblings. I have a twin sister.
Oh, okay.
And then I have really 3 half brothers.
Okay.
So yeah, I was not an only child. I was the first one to graduate from college in the family.
Oh, okay.
So
that's what I was about to ask you. When you graduated from high school, did you know what you wanted to become, what to study in college?
No, I wish I had, but I have children as well, and they've sort of struggled with, what do I do with the rest of my life? And I know that's a big decision for an 18-year-old to make. So, as I mentioned, I sang in high school, and I loved that. So after high school, I I got a scholarship to attend Tennessee Tech as a voice major.
Oh, okay.
And I was there for over 3 years. I changed my major after about 2.5 years. I really loved it, but I realized that, there's limited opportunities,
Oh, yeah.
Being in music. And so ultimately, I left Tennessee Tech and ended up graduating from King University with a business degree.
Oh, okay. All right. It's interesting. I went to college on a scholarship to sing, not as
Really?
not as a music major, but as a public relations member of a public relations group at Belmont College.
Wow.
Called the Belmont Reasons. They were kind of
That's a great school for music.
8 singers and a band, and we would go out and do both churches and high schools and promote Belmont College.
Wow.
So that's what I did.
That's very good.
and
I know several people in Oak Ridge who were music majors who, who were doing completely different things.
And my oldest son, who's about to be 29 and about to get married, I guess he caught the bug. He graduated from Oak Ridge High School, and he is now the assistant director of athletic bands at UT Chattanooga.
Oh, nice.
He's a percussion professor
Wow.
at UTC. So anyway, all right. So you graduated from King with you said a business degree.
Yes.
Okay. And then what?
Well, I worked in medical offices for a while, but I guess I would say my first big girl job. I was the executive director. I started out actually as the assistant office manager there, and then I worked my way up to executive director after a year or two of the Junior League of Knoxville.
Oh, okay.
So a 501c3 nonprofit organization. And really our mission was to...
Yeah, go ahead. Tell me that's what I was about to ask. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, that's okay. We were a volunteer organization, so a leadership training organization for women. And during that time, we had about 800 members.
Oh, wow.
And we were, in the first year that they would join, we were training them basically how to be a good community volunteer and leader. And so they would be assigned to committees, and they would learn how to be a board member and how to run fundraisers and different activities where they could, basically learn to be a servant leader, learn how to give back to their community.
Now, were these high school age, college age?
They were right out of college is when most of them would start, and a lot of them were in sororities, in college.
Yeah. So it was right after they get out of college. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And then many of them would stay in that active role for about 10 years, and then they become more of we called it sustainer, sort of an emeritus role after those 10 years of active service to the league.
They would probably mentor
yes
the others that were coming up, right?
That was the idea.
Okay.
And I really did that for 15 years.
Oh, wow.
Before I came to eTech.
Oh, okay.
And I was just ready for something new. And my husband brought me to Oak Ridge to an event with ORAU, and I talked to Jim Campbell, who was looking for someone to come and work with him, and so that's how I came to eTech.
Okay. So did your husband work in Oak Ridge? What did he do?
Yes. At the time, my husband was the general counsel for ORAU.
Oh, okay.
And he was there for, I believe, about 15 years.
Now, when did you meet your husband?
So I met him in 2013. So this was both of our second marriage. And Ivan's wife passed away several years before we met. And I met him through friends. And I didn't know a whole lot about Oak Ridge, but he has been a tremendous help to me because he worked for the Department of Energy for 10 years before he went to ORAU for 15 years, and now he's at ORNL, UT Battelle, in their general counsel's office. So he's been a lawyer for the feds for a long time, hasn't he? He has, and I call him senior advisor to the president of ETEC.
I'm sure. Well, of course he is.
Yes.
What a wonderful resource that you've got if you ever need it.
Absolutely.
I suppose. So, and you started a family, I guess. Okay, so you got kids and.
Yes, I have. We don't have any children together,
right?
But I have 3, and he has a daughter, so we have 4.
Okay.
Together.
Okay. All right. Well, good.
Yes.
So Jim asked you to come work at ETEC. Did you know Jim before?
No.
Okay.
No, I did not.
How did he discover that you might be a good person to be in this place?
Well, as I said, my husband introduced me to him, and I think he said, well, Tracy is, potentially interested in new opportunities, maybe out here in Oak Ridge if you know of anything. And he said, well, as a matter of fact, I'm looking for someone. And so I interviewed with him a few times. And
it's not like you didn't have any experience in doing
public
things, so.
Yes, public things and events. And so now the energy side, the Department of Energy, all of that was new to me.
Sure.
But being in this room every week and hearing the speakers and talking to others and having meetings with others, I learned pretty quickly a lot about what was happening here. But there was a pretty big learning curve.
Oh, I'm sure there was.
If you're not familiar with the Department of Energy. And, of course, before I worked with all women and especially 11, 12, 13 plus years ago, even when I first started here at ETEC, the room was mostly men. That's changed. And so we're diversifying in all ways. But that was a little bit of a change that I had to get used to as well.
I'm sure. So what did you do when you first came to ETEC? So what was your job? What did Jim want you to do?
I was the program director was my title.
Okay.
And so I planned the weekly meetings. Of course, he had a lot of input in who the speakers would be, but I did a lot of the coordination and made sure, the speakers had the information that they needed when they came to speak. I greeted people when they came, made sure they had name tags, helped with any of the events that we put on. We didn't do as many events, but we still had receptions and different activities. And, of course, our Friday morning meetings are events really every week. That was pretty much my role. And it was Jim and I, and then Nicole here, who was part-time, and she was primarily doing the bookkeeping.
Okay. Yeah.
So it was a much smaller staff, but we didn't have quite as many activities going on at that point.
Well, how, and this is something that I just thought of, how is ETEC funded?
So that's a great question. We are funded by membership dues.
Okay.
And then we have events that help as well. We don't call them fundraisers really, but so our Nuclear Opportunities Workshop is an event where we make money to be able to do the activities that we are doing, especially with the Tennessee Nuclear Network. We don't receive any funding from the city or the state or the federal government currently.
I was about to ask about that, because that would, you work on behalf of them, but that could get a little murky if you...
Absolutely.
If you wouldn't have very much independence.
Exactly.
If you did
and
that,
we even put that in our mission that we're an independent 501c6 organization, which is organized like a chamber of commerce.
Yes.
But that independence is, I think, key. Especially, so I don't want to jump too far ahead, but related to this funding aspect, the state named ETEC as the Tennessee Nuclear Network.
Okay.
And we are considered their partner, but we don't receive funds from the state.
Okay.
And we made the decision that we were not going to ask the state for funding because a lot of our members are the ones who are doing a lot of the legwork that's happening with the Tennessee Nuclear Network, like the workforce initiatives that we're working on. ORAU is leading that effort. And we decided that we didn't want to compete with our members for funding when really we were leveraging our members to have the expertise to do the workforce initiatives and to help with the different aspects of what we were doing. We set up committees and our members are involved in those committees, but we wanted to support them getting the funding to do those initiatives versus competing with them for that funding. So we made that decision, and I think it was a good one.
And I would imagine, and I could be wrong, but I would, and I can say these things probably easier than other folks can, because I don't have a dog in that race. But the people that are members of ETEC and are active in ETEC, if there was a need, if you had some kind of financial need, it would be taken care of, because most of these people have pretty deep pockets, to be quite honest. So
absolutely. I mean, I think historically over the years, I know, there were times in the past before I came where we had those situations and, they stepped up. It's a great community.
And individually and corporately.
Yes.
I mean, it's not just individuals, but, people that are presidents of companies, that support certain efforts could find a way to do that.
Right. And they see us, they trust our work. And so I believe that if we had a need, we could absolutely ask and they would help.
And I would imagine also, and I have to imagine, I pretty well know that the corporate entities, the federal agencies, they really do have a lot of faith in ETEC and the fact that ETEC is going to be doing what's best for everybody in the long term. Wouldn't you think?
Well, I certainly hope so, and they
not
they
that
have
they don't
expressed that.
Not that they won't disagree with you every once in a while, but generally overall, I think
they believe that we have the community's best interests at heart, and we're just working to really raise all the boats. The rising tide lifts all boats, and that's really our purpose, and because we meet every week and we engage with them, regularly, they trust that our work is mission oriented, and we're here to support their work too. So yes, I believe they do have that faith in us, and I greatly appreciate that, and will do anything that I can to make sure that they maintain that.
And I would dare say that those weekly Friday morning meetings are probably one of the smartest things that you ever do, that you've ever done.
Yes.
It's you're not only informing them of new things, but you're staying in contact with your members every week.
Absolutely.
So,
and a lot of people rely on our meetings to be able to engage with people that they need to talk to, and maybe you don't have time to shoot them an email or send them a note or call them on the phone, but you know you're going to see them on Friday morning.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
you can take care of that business that's important to you. And
networking with people that maybe you don't know too well, but you'd like to get to know a little bit better.
Absolutely. It's just a part of what we do and why people come and why people come early and they stay late. We most of the time we have people who are still here talking. The meeting ends right at 8:30 every Friday, and you can
Starts
come
at 7, right?
7:30.
Okay, 7:30. So it's
But people start getting here at 7:15, and they stay. A lot of times we'll have people here even an hour past 8:30 that are still talking to each other, and so it's really heartwarming to me to see that our work is making a difference. I really believe that it is, and honestly, we owe all of that to Jim Campbell. Really, he started this organization. I mean, it was started before him, but he was the first leader, and his vision is continuing, and we're doing some things a little bit differently, but the basics of what he established, we are continuing, and it works. It's just, we hear all the time from people, more and more because of the nuclear renaissance that's happening here. We've heard about your organization. We want to learn about how do you do that, and how is it successful, and what are you doing differently that other organizations don't do, and it's just really a special and unique organization that they don't have really many organizations like us in the country.
Yeah, because this is different from the chamber. The chamber represents everybody.
Yes.
And really, you're more of a very specific and targeted representation group, aren't you?
Yes.
I mean, the chamber is obligated to represent everybody. You're not. You have your group of people that you're working for. Yes.
There's definitely, different types of companies that are members of ETEC versus the chamber. And there's a lot that are both.
Sure, of course.
But we're more federally focused. We have a lot of government contractors that are part of this organization that might not otherwise join.
And that's the way it was at the beginning. I mean, that's the reason it was formed. It's their own Anderson Alliance or whatever it was called,
to support the federal missions.
Exactly.
And that's what we continue to do. And anything that we can do to make sure that the Department of Energy's missions here continue and grow.
Right.
That's really what we're all about, and try to leverage those federal missions to bring more federal missions and more private investment. That's pretty much our purpose.
Which we'll get to in a minute, but that's what we're seeing now.
Yes.
That those private investments are really, they're not in competition with the federal stuff that's going on. They're going to go hand in hand with that. And so you came to ETEC and you were program director. So how long were you in that role? And then Jim, I guess, decided to retire, and tell me about that.
Yes. So I am trying to remember. I was program director for maybe 3 years, and I was promoted to vice president after that point, and just continued to learn and try to soak in everything. I'll never know as much as Jim does, but I'm still learning.
Right. Well, he's old and he's been around a long time. I can say that because I've known him a long time.
Yeah. So he does have a leg up on me there. But and then when Jim decided to retire, the board and he were looking for different potential candidates to replace him, and we'd talked, many times about succession planning and that kind of thing.
Sure.
And in the back of my mind, I had always hoped that I might be at least a potential candidate, but I wasn't sure. But I was very thankful when Jim asked me if I would be interested, and he said he would support me in being the president once he left.
So how was that decided? Do you have like a board of directors?
Yes, and we had a committee that was part of that, but that was ultimately the executive committee and a smaller committee that made that recommendation to the board. Right. So that happened in, let's see, I believe that was 24.
Oh, okay. So just a couple of years ago.
Yes, it could be coming up on 3 years, I believe.
All right.
It may be longer. I can't keep dates in my head very long, but it seems like it's been a while. But we've had a lot going on,
especially the last couple of years. Last year,
yes,
it's been crazy.
Yes,
which we'll talk about in a minute. But talk a little bit about historically ETech. What are some examples of things that ETech has championed that has been beneficial for your members?
Wow, that's a good question. So we're not just about nuclear. I know we talk a whole lot about nuclear now, but really anything that the laboratory and Y12 are involved in, any of the Department of Energy's missions that are happening here, we support. And I'm trying to think of specific. So there was some cyber. There was a cyber consortium that we were trying to work with, and that is, I believe, still ongoing. IACME, I don't know if you're familiar with them, the Composites Manufacturing Consortium. That was started as a partnership with the lab and ETech, and it's now a very successful organization. IACME is the acronym, Institute for Advanced Composites Manufacturing. Oh, of course, I will butcher that. But,
that's okay. I just need to know how to spell it. So.
IACMI.
Okay.
And I should have looked that one up.
That's okay.
And
when you say you support it, what do you all do to support it?
We bring people together who care about these initiatives. And the example that's foremost in my mind is the nuclear one. ETech brought together a group, the Nuclear Working Group, it was called at that time, to we initially formed that to try to help TVA put advanced reactors on the Clinch River site many years ago, before this renaissance.
Yeah.
And that group still continues to meet, even after Fukushima sort of delayed a lot of the advanced reactor. Fukushima, and the demand for energy just wasn't there. Energy was pretty, the demand for energy was pretty stable for a long time. So there wasn't really a need for utilities like TVA to spend a whole lot of money investing in new resources, because the demand was pretty much staying flat.
And then AI happened.
Exactly.
So
the demand just shot straight up, and and we were talking about new nuclear before that, but it really the realization that the need for stable baseload power was just huge, because they can't, the instability of, even though we still need all of the above energy, like the solar, it's just not, you have to have the battery storage that goes along with that.
Sure.
But with nuclear, you have that stable power source that is needed for AI and for those hyperscalers that need that power when they need it, and it can't fluctuate. It has to be always on.
Exactly. So do you deal with, Washington? Do you lobby? That kind of thing.
Yes, we do a little bit of lobbying, not a whole lot, because of course our contractors, have their own lobbyists. What we try to do is bring our folks together on, are there issues that we can champion as a community versus, UCOR has their needs, and UT Patel has theirs, and CNS has theirs. Are there issues that we as a community can get together on? And a lot of times, if we have meetings with those contractors to say, tell me what your top 3 issues are that we might be able to help with. And then we can go and talk with Congressman Fleischman or the senators, staffers, to say, these are our priorities here in the region.
Right.
And because we're a 501c6 and not a C3, we can do some of that lobbying. And we do that a little bit at the state as well. But it's more educating than lobbying. We don't ask specifically for money, dollar figures or that.
Sure.
We just advocate for the region.
For support for certain things.
Exactly.
And I would imagine when you go to a Congressman Fleischman with something, that his ears are going to perk up, because he knows who you're representing, which is, that's a big chunk of folks.
Yes.
So
yes, he's always.
That's a big chunk of I don't want to say powerful, but influence as well.
Yes, because he funds. He funds the Department of Energy, and his constituents are, his constituents are here, and he also cares very deeply about Oak Ridge, and he has been a huge part of our success as well. But he's always helpful and interested in listening, and he's usually 4 or 5 steps ahead of us already in knowing what the needs are and being willing to help however he can.
And this might be an odd question, but it just came to me. When the state was redrawing the lines, it was not good for our area as far as Congressman Fleischman goes.
Absolutely.
And fortunately, they changed it. Did y'all have a hand in making them aware that this was not good for us?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Okay. We had to, because, as I mentioned earlier, the Department of Energy's missions here are special and very important, and every time we get a new elected official, there's a period of educating and informing them about what happens here and why it's important and why it should be important to them.
Sure.
And the congressman knows. His knowledge is tremendous, and he has, he knows, he can speak the language because he has learned so much about what happens here. And so thinking about losing him and his support for this region, it was terrifying.
And his knowledge of this region.
His knowledge, absolutely.
I'm sure.
It would have been devastating for this region. So we had to make sure our voices were heard, that we please do not move him out of the 3rd District of Tennessee.
Exactly. I remember when I saw that, I said, whoops, that's not going to work. So
yes.
I remember, I'll tell you, I've been in Oak Ridge for a long time and doing this kind of work for a few decades now. And I remember I was at some event, I'm thinking it may have been the Children's Museum, but this little fella came up to me and said, I think it was his first visit, he said, "Hi, I'm Chuck Fleischman and I'm running for Congress." I think that was his first trip to Oak Ridge. Nobody knew who he was.
Yes.
But anyway, he certainly made his mark.
Absolutely.
And supported.
He's made it.
Yeah.
He's made such a difference.
And continues to do that. So let's talk some about the nuclear renaissance.
Sure.
We've got...
Grab my water.
Yeah, sure. We've got probably close to $15 billion in new investment coming in. You've probably got 6 to 8 that we know of, new companies, private companies that are coming in to all do something with nuclear. And tell me what has that done to the conversation? What has that done for? How has that impacted ETech and what maybe your mission is? We can't understate or overstate what a big deal it is. This happening.
Absolutely, it is.
So,
it is a very big deal, and I'm trying to think about where to start here because, you asked about how maybe ETech had impacted some initiatives here, and so I want to go back to Jim. He started the Nuclear Opportunities Workshop back in 2017. I was here. It was basically the two of us, and Nicole was part-time.
Yeah.
And we decided that we wanted to do something to make people aware of all of the opportunities and assets here in this region related to nuclear. And so we were going to have a conference, and we partnered with, I believe it was the U.S. Nuclear Infrastructure Council to do a supply chain workshop. And the first year, we had 82 people, I believe was the number of people who registered. And I always joke, and I think about probably 80 of them were speakers.
Right, exactly.
So we were all talking to ourselves.
Sure.
But it was, a way to get people together around the nuclear industry.
Yeah.
And so we did that the first year. The second year, we probably bumped to over 100 people, similar turnout. But still the same mission. And if you remember at that time, a lot of cleanup work was happening, but the Heritage Center was still under the cleanup, and so we weren't we didn't have a lot of land to give to companies. But we still wanted to, we knew someday we were going to, and we wanted to make sure people knew about it.
Yeah.
So we had that 2017, 2018, 2019, we doubled our number. And so 200 people were coming, still a lot of Tennessee people. And of course, then after that, COVID happened. But at the same time, UCOR was wrapping up their cleanup of the heritage site. And that's when we started hearing these announcements. We started getting these announcements from like Kairos Power. We want to come. We want to build our reactor, our demonstration reactor first, but ultimately their reactor here. And so once that cleanup was finished, we had those people who said, I want to be close to Oak Ridge National Lab. I want to be close to TVA.
Yeah.
And I want to come here. And so we didn't have the conference for a couple of years, and nobody was having any,
nobody was doing anything public.
Public meetings. But then after we started opening back up, everybody wanted to get together because they missed being together. So the conference continued to grow, and it doubled just about every year until last year. We had 1,000 attendees.
Where do you have
34 states.
Where do you have it?
We have it in Knoxville at the Knoxville Convention Center.
Okay.
Of course, we started having it here in Oak Ridge and would have loved to have continued having it here, but we just outgrew our space here.
Sure, of course.
But that was always our goal, was to have the conference here because we wanted to showcase our assets. And it was working. In addition to Congressman Fleischman and all of his support for nuclear, in addition to the demand for energy, it's just been like a perfect storm.
Sure.
And so we saw Kairos Power and Standard Nuclear and TRISO-X. They all sort of started around the same time. Maybe Standard and TRISO started a little bit before. And then companies, like Arano coming to bring their enrichment facility, Oklo bringing a recycling facility. Centrus has been here for a long time, but they've restarted their manufacturing of centrifuges here. And so on. And the impact has really been significant. Governor Lee's investment, when he came out and said he wanted Tennessee to be the top state in the nation for nuclear, that was also really when a light started to shine on what was happening here in Oak Ridge as well. And that was in 2023. So and
he put his money where his mouth was, didn't he?
Yes.
He funded some things.
Absolutely. He's put hundreds of millions of dollars in and investments in not only recruiting companies here, but also into workforce initiatives to support those companies that were coming here. And then he named ETEC's nuclear working group that I mentioned earlier as the Tennessee Nuclear Network. And so all of this has caused ETEC to continue growing and we've grown from around 200 members to now we have almost 500 members.
Oh, wow.
Over the past 4 years. I believe I said the wrong year. I think I've been the president for 4 years.
Okay. All right. That's fine.
So that has been tremendous for ETEC, for the community, and it gives us a space every week where we can come in, like I said, and talk about what's happening here and create this excitement about, wow, I am here right now during this time, and I can be part of this renaissance. I hate to say renaissance because I know that word has been overused, but
that's okay.
It's like being part of something really that's bigger than I or my company can be by themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's really amazing to be here during this time. And sometimes when I talk to Jim, I think he thinks, well, maybe I shouldn't have retired because he did so many years of work that has led up to what we're experiencing today.
Exactly. He did the groundwork, didn't he?
Yes. So,
well, it's interesting. I don't remember who it was that I've interviewed 25 people this summer.
Wow.
And I don't remember, and I've interviewed really people that have been involved in the nuclear renaissance, and it may have been Harold Connor, and he said, you know, it may have been. He said, Keith, he said, this is really the third nuclear renaissance. He says the first one was 80 years ago. He said the second one was the Cold War years. Yep. He says, and this is really the third nuclear renaissance has happened in Oak Ridge.
Yes.
So
I think this one's for real, though.
Yeah. And like some people, like one person said, these are private enterprises, and they may not all work out. But even if half of them work out, it'll be bigger than anything we've ever seen.
Exactly.
You know. So, and then you've got the federal thing that's going on where they're about to choose a site for reclamation of and reuse of nuclear waste.
Yes.
That in itself could be as big as Y12. So,
absolutely.
You know, so you never know. And what a more perfect place for it to be located than
right. The birthplace.
Yeah.
Really, especially for enrichment.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Just to have it come full circle, you know, have that legacy waste cleaned up, and have this land now made available for future missions, and to make sure that the United States can, you know, maintain its energy security. I think that's so important, and we've seen, you know, with the geopolitical things that are happening right now, and just thinking about another country that really doesn't have the United States' best interests at heart being able to control our energy. It's just not a pretty thought. So we've got to do whatever we can to maintain and really reclaim some of that nuclear leadership, because, you know, we haven't enriched, you know, uranium in the United States in a long time, and I'm so glad that we're bringing that capability back.
I have a couple of more things that I want to ask you about. One is there what is your relationship, and I guess, does it matter? Does it matter that the general public may not know what you do? And I could be wrong, but I would think people that are not involved may not have a full understanding of what E-Tech does. Is that, and it may not be important, because that may not be your target audience. How do you react to that? That's a great question. I will say that we have expanded E-Tech's audience, E-Tech's visibility. Yes. Okay.
Over the past several years, to make it more broad, to try to educate people outside of Oak Ridge about what's happening here, because it is so important. And we are taking even more steps to try to especially engage and educate folks about nuclear, because of situations that are like what's happening right now with data centers across the country, across the state.
Not in my backyard.
Yes.
Type thing.
And if we don't, you know, take a proactive approach, then it'll be the same thing. Exactly. So we've got to reach out and be broader than we really ever have been.
Yeah.
I think to make sure that people are aware of the important work that's happening, why it's important to them, and why, and to bring subject matter experts from Y12 and from the lab and others to talk with people, to try to answer their questions, ease any concerns, that kind of thing.
And I would imagine that it's a generational thing now as well. we don't have that well, we've still got that generation that were here in the 80s that, nuclear bad, nuclear is going to kill us all.
Yes.
Type attitude. And, but you've got a younger generation that's up and coming that was not ingrained in them. So they may be a little bit more open to a sensible, reasonable explanation of things.
Absolutely. That's very true. We see that, as you mentioned, the older generations still have some fear, and that's reasonable. But the younger folks are really excited about the opportunities, and they like that. A lot of them like that. Nuclear is clean energy. The clean energy aspect, which we don't always talk about, in this administration.
Yeah.
But that's important to young people. I think they want to make sure that they're, that the earth is still going to be around when their kids are, older, and they just want to, have that. They like having that. I'm doing something to benefit, to benefit the earth and to benefit future generations.
And that's a good pitch point for them.
Yeah. Yeah, so they're making a difference. They want to make a difference, these young people. They do.
Sure. So what do you see for the future of E-Tech? I mean, you're just kind of getting started with your leadership role here. So I'm sure you're not thinking about following Jim at any time soon. So what would you like to see happen with E-Tech?
Well, I just have to say I'm so honored to be here in this position at this time. It feels surreal, really, to be here. Like I said, it's a special time, and it's special here on Friday mornings to get to be part of this. It's like you're part of something that's bigger than yourself.
Yeah.
And I want to be around to make sure that these projects, the ones that can be successful, and I know not all of them probably can be, but the ones that can be, I want to be here to help them. And I want to be here to support their efforts to make sure they have the workforce they need, and just continue to grow what we've started. This building is limited in capacity, and I will tell you that we're averaging about 200 people here every Friday morning.
So that room next door to us, that's pretty packed, isn't it?
It is. And my wish would be that we could stay here and maybe expand this building, but I'm not sure how realistic that is. But I think there is room for growth, and I would like to continue to build on the growth that we've been seeing through this nuclear renaissance, because we're going to need suppliers for all of these companies that are coming here.
Absolutely. This isn't the end game.
No,
this is just the beginning.
Exactly.
It really is.
So I think there's a lot of potential for growth, and I think it's going to be. I was on a call with the state this morning, and they were saying this has the potential to be the biggest initiative that the state has ever had. Yeah. As far as economic development. And I want to be here to help that. I know that this is a multi-decade timeline, and I won't be here for multi-decades, but I want to stay as long as I can to make an impact.
I would imagine, and I could be wrong here, but I would imagine that if a company like an Oklo or an Orano is looking to come to Oak Ridge, locate a facility in Oak Ridge, they're not just going to look at the site. They're going to look at all the different things that go into making this place unique and special. And I would imagine that E-Tech is a very unique thing that Oak Ridge has that other places don't, that has contributed to their decisions to come here. Would I be accurate in saying that?
Well, I would certainly hope so, and we have absolutely seen evidence of that. And even many people who we're hearing now from our friends at Oak Ridge National Lab who say they're getting calls from companies who come here to look and to talk to them about maybe some of their needs. And they've heard of E-Tech, and they say, tell me about E-Tech. And so they're telling them, you need to go visit, go check it out, because it's a community.
Yeah.
That it's an ecosystem that's here to support what you're doing, basically. And everybody is, some people are calling it like the Silicon Valley of Oak Ridge, because you have all of these great minds that are all concentrating on, nuclear energy, and they're all in the same place, and they're feeding off of each other, and the energy in the room it's just special. So we're getting a lot of people who have heard about E-Tech and want to see what it's about, even internationally.
Yeah.
We've had several visits recently from of course, now I'm not going to be able to remember, Latin America, from the Philippines, from France, from Argentina. We get calls, and we've had visits from people who want to come and talk to us about what's happening here and want to be in the room to see what is this E-Tech thing.
Okay.
So, yes, we hope that we're part of the reason why people are choosing to come here.
All right.
And I know especially that having a supportive community makes a difference. And we've heard companies say, well, we were going to go here, but the community came out against our efforts, and we decided that was no longer an option.
Yeah, sure. Well, they're not going to get that. If it's talking nuclear, they're not going to get any pushback in Oak Ridge.
No, as you know.
That's what Oak Ridge was built on.
Exactly.
So, all right, one last question. To my right here on the wall is a bunch of brass boots. Tell me about the Muddy Boot.
Yes, so you're looking at the Muddy Boot wall, and that's a list of all of the people over the years, starting in 1973, where we gave awards to people who made it part of their life's work to make a difference in this community, especially related to the Department of Energy's work. And not all of them worked for the Department of Energy or worked for a government contractor necessarily, but it was about making Oak Ridge the best it could be. And it goes back to during the Manhattan Project, and you know this better than I do, when they were putting this town together, they pretty much existed in and had to walk to and from different locations in mud, up to their knees sometimes.
Yeah, sure. because they were building the town. And
yes,
it was in the days of mud. It's a famous Ed Westcott picture.
Yes,
in the days of mud. So
absolutely.
everybody's boots were muddy, weren't they?
Yes. And so it's just a way to show that we continue that same work, even though, of course, the Manhattan Project was just so historical and such it was just a time when the United States came together to win this war against against the evils that were happening, and so we want to continue, and we have these people who are doing that. They're making a difference in their work, in their lives. that has really made a positive impact on this community. So
All right.
we give that award away every year at our annual meeting.
Okay. Well, Tracy, thank you so much for taking time to talk to me. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity.
All right, great.